Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Just done.
Yeah.
Brand new. Look at this.
I wonder if this is the same vandal maybe who did the
like,
other one.
Looks very
Vandalism.
similar. So here's a tree that hasn't been pruned to death. It has had other problems that have led to its demise.
That's right. So this is a tree that, again, if you look around, sometimes you can learn a lot of information about a tree. You can see at the base of this tree probably that when it was young, I'm sure, somebody backed into it when they were trying to get out of their parking place and caused pretty serious trunk wound down here. So on this side of the tree, we've seen a lot of wounding and there's a lot of dead wood inside the tree. And then what's happened is now, because of that, there's not enough healthy wood, the tree's starting to split apart, which we see on this side, and that is essentially killing the tree. It's almost dead. We've got a tiny flush of green. This is an evergreen species. It's the same species as the tree behind you, which is a privet. And it's not going to come back.
So do they need a tree removal permit to even remove a dead tree as dead as this one?
That's right, even to remove a dead tree, because we still have to send an inspector out. A lot of times people will say, my tree's dead, can I just remove it? Well, it may be deciduous, and if you're not familiar with trees, you might not realize that it's just leaf off right now. So we send out an arborist who will do an inspection of the tree, and if we confirm the tree's dead, we'll issue the removal permit. Believe it or not, unless the tree is an imminent hazard, we still go through public notification. So we'll do like a 15-day posting on a tree like this so that the public knows the tree's going to come out. And it's rare for us to get a protest on a dead tree, but it happens. My tree hearing 2 months ago, the tree did not have a single leaf on it and had been that way for close to a month. And we still got a protest on it. So it happens.
Okay, we're going to walk up to Market Street where we have a whole different kind of tree program going. Watching this, you'll be getting a lot of calls.
I'll be right.
Let's get into the shade.
Yeah.
Talk about that here. We'll stop. No, we better keep going.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. We have infill trees that are young. Okay, so we are on Market Street, and we have a whole tree program here that involves this basically monoculture planting along here. What do we have, Carla?
These are London plane trees, Platanus acerifolia, that are planted all up and down Market Street. And as you get further down, you know there are probably 2 rows of these trees planted in sort of a bosque style. It is a monoculture, but it also really helps set that sense of place. So as long as we don't plant them exclusively throughout the city, I don't think it's so bad to have, this is really one of the defining features of Market Street, these trees.
Just like Dolores Street has palm trees and the Embarcadero has palm trees of a different sort, we have defined our major thoroughfares with particular species, and that's actually considered to be a good design feature,
That's
urban
right.
design feature.
And it helps. It's one of the reasons why when the city does maintenance on a street that we have these major thoroughfares, because then we can ensure that the appropriate tree species is planted. And if there's a problem with that species, we hope that we're keeping up with the literature and learning these things so that we can start to anticipate and plan for the future.
So how's the health of this generally? This whole
This
array?
one looks pretty good.
Generally?
Generally Market Street looks pretty good. Even on Market Street where we have big, mature, healthy trees, sometimes they get hit by cars, they get vandalized, and we do have to replace them. So every once in a while you'll see a smaller tree. We are planting with the same species.
So right here at the next tree, we have a smaller replacement tree.
That's right, and that one has actually probably been in the ground 10 years at this point. And we have even smaller ones that we've put in recently. But we do try to stick with that same species palette so that we contribute to that sense of place on Market Street.
What do you call the trees that are pollarded over by City Hall?
Those are actually the same species of tree as these trees here, but it's a good question because that's a type of pruning technique that is really only applicable to a couple of species, and one of them is the platanus, the London plane, sycamore trees. A lot of times people will see those trees and they think, oh, that's how you prune a tree, you cut it at the top. Well, that's not what's happening. When a tree is pollarded, it has to be done when the tree is fairly young and it's something that you establish with the tree. And then you cut back to that same place every year. You do not cut a new cut, which is essentially a wound to the tree. So sometimes people will look at those trees and when we issue them a fine for really severely damaging a street tree, they'll say, well, I cut it just like the ones at City Hall. So it's a very specialized pruning technique, and it's really only applicable to, I say only to sycamores, to platanus.
What we're seeing here is the Bureau of Urban Forestry working to replace the entire sidewalk as well as the tree basins.
That's right. So the Bureau of Urban Forestry, we have our own cement shop, and the reason that we do is because we have to maintain the sidewalks around trees. So this is our cement shop working. They're replacing the sidewalk, and they're going to also make sure that they frame out a new tree basin for these trees so that we have a nice path of travel.
And they should be told they need a muffler or a shroud on their jackhammer. By Article 29 of the Police Code, all jackhammers have to have mufflers on them in San Francisco.
Okay.
So they all do, but nobody knows it, but it's in there.
We'll let everybody know.
Good, excellent, excellent. This is great. Okay, so how long does it take to do a job like this? Is this like a couple days?
We started Monday.
Really?
I mean, there was a lot of prep work with the lane closure.
Yeah,
And
oh
all organized. And we had a bobcat.
Uh-huh,
So
okay.
that always,
So you clean it out, and you grade the thing out, you
see, they're already framing up there for the pour.
framing for the pour, and when do you think to pour this? What day?
From what I heard, Monday.
Monday? Great. That's pretty quick work for such a big job here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Like I said, with the bobcat, things do go
Yeah, that's
faster.
right.
One thing we should make a note of is it's really important when we take the whole sidewalk like this, we have to make sure that pedestrians have a safe place to go. So part of what takes time on a job like this is that we actually have to set up a whole new pedestrian walkway so that they're safe and not in the work area.
So Carla,
Yes.
isn't this an amazing tree?
This is a beautiful tree.
It's a eucalyptus. What kind of eucalyptus?
This is a Eucalyptus citriodora.
Citriodora.
Yes.
Does that mean it smells like citron?
They do, supposedly
leaves, maybe?
lemon-scented eucalyptus.
Okay.
And
it is just beautiful.
It's beautiful. It has a really nice big trunk, but it also has this incredibly smooth and really creamy bark. A lot of eucalyptus trees, you'll see that the bark sort of flakes off a lot, and this, it flakes to the point that it's almost completely smooth. And you actually get some really nice color variations in the bark. It's really beautiful.
And there are 5 more right in the center island, right around the corner from here. In fact, we can see them right over by the freeway.
That's
there.
right.
Those things must be, 80 plus feet tall, maybe
Well, they
more,
are definitely
90.
taller than the buildings across the way,
Yeah.
so they are very good sized trees. And luckily in that median they have enough room to grow because the trunk, as you can see on this one, that trunk does get pretty substantial, and so we don't see these a lot in the sidewalk area.
And this is really not its full size. These things get a lot bigger
Oh,
than
yes.
this. In
Oh, yes.
another 30 years, this
much,
will
much
be
bigger.
massive.
That's right.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. But we don't recommend this for people to put in their sidewalk in front of their house.
Unless they live with a very, very wide sidewalk and they're able to do kind of an oversized basin or maybe some sidewalk landscaping, we might consider it.
usually. Okay, great. Let's talk about this. So these are all over San Francisco,
They are.
and these are from New Zealand,
Yes.
I believe.
Yep. The common name for this tree is actually the bottle brush, and as you can see looking at this flower, it looks quite a lot like a bottle brush. This variety is the Callistemon citrinus. There's another species of the same genus, that's a Callistemon viminalis. Do you smell any lemon?
A little bit.
It's supposed
You
to
can
be the
take
lemon-scented
the
bottle
leaf
brush,
and
but
rub it and maybe smell a little bit of lemon. That's what they say.
yeah. Anytime you see that citrinus or citriodora, those are all indications that there's some citrus or lemon scent to the tree. Unfortunately, bottle brush is not a hugely popular tree in San Francisco because these little flowers will fall and they will get into your car and they will blow through your vents. And I've heard complaints that they get very sappy and they stick on cars.
I haven't seen too much of that. I
think
love
it's
these
a nice tree. It does well. It doesn't get too huge. It's a good hardy street tree. So I like them.